So it's been a while, but I finally have everything I need to put this car back together, and I need to put this car back together. I pretty much went the majority of this driving season without this driver's car. I didn't buy it to look at it. I bought it to drive it. So we have a few things that I need to do before the engine and transmission go back in. I need to finish flushing the intermix out of the cooling system. The car's cooling system is already flushed, and it's as good as I can get it without running the engine. However, I have not done the heater core, so we'll be doing that. If you also remember in one of the last two videos on this car, I noted that since this car has been in a rear end collision, a minor one, there is some paint work that needs to be done on this bumper rebar part of the chassis. So we're going to go ahead and tackle that. And then I also need to replace this vacuum hose, which supplies vacuum to the brake booster. It was installed incorrectly, and it rubbed a hole in it, so I've got another one of those. And then, and only then, we can put the motor back in it. But I'm eager to get started. I've been looking at this car for way too long, and now it's time to turn some wrenches. So this is what I'm talking about, the paint that needs some attention. You can see there's some raw metal here. It's begun to rust a little. It's just surface rust. I'm not worried about that. But this car has been in a minor rear collision, and I think they re-sprayed this. As you can see some overspray on some of the wiring. So we're going to go ahead and re-spray it, if that's a thing. And at least so that it's protected against corrosion and rust. And I want to do that with the engine out, of course. And here is the evidence of that rear end collision. Again, it's not really terrible, but you can see where they've welded this back on. This piece was likely replaced, and it looks like this is original, and it's been welded to whatever this piece was that was replaced. So we're going to just kind of clean this up a little bit, get some paint on it, because I don't want it to get worse. It's just stuff that I'd rather do with the engine out of the car. In the last video, I ran some cooling system cleaner, let's use that term loosely, simple green mixture diluted through the cooling system using all of the cooling system from the vehicle and some hodgepodge stuff I found at my house. We're going to kind of do the same thing with the heater core. We're going to go both directions, and we're going to connect here and here. I don't really expect that to take nearly as much time or have nearly as much intermix in it just because it's a smaller system. When I bought this car, it ran pretty well, but it had a couple of lean codes that would pop up after a tank of gas. And once I kind of dived into it, tried to check out why it was throwing lean codes, I found a couple of vacuum leaks, and one of them was the brake booster vacuum supply. Now that hose attaches to the driver's or left-hand plenum of the engine, and it was installed kind of at an angle, and it was rubbing on some other components, which ultimately rubbed a hole in it, creating a vacuum leak. Now this is the part that had a hole rubbed in it, and actually this one's got a little bit of wear in it, but it's not leaking. It's fine. So this is the replacement pipe that I got from my friends at R&D Exotics, and thank God the engine's out, because to replace this pipe, well, this is all one piece. It's fine. It'll be fine. The engine's out, it'll be fine. So that line runs up here, and then all the way down, out of camera, all the way around to the driver's side rocker where it has a junction, which I don't know how that comes apart, but we're going to find out. Well, let's start pulling this brake booster line down. So I'm not really sure how this comes out other than maybe I just push this. Well, that was easy. All right, now we got to figure out how to get this out. So it snakes over a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not really worried about getting this out because we can always cut this, but I have to get the other one back in. With magic? Well, it's getting there, kinda. It's got this big coolant pipe in the way, and that's the one that's causing the most problems right now. Oh, that's progress. Well, it's in a different bad position. Try to move other things out of the way, and everything's unhappy. Oh, yes. Now I got to remember exactly how that was routed. So here are the two lines. I do have to switch this end over to the new line. I can do that once everything's back together. First, we're going to try to get this back in the same spot. Boy, that's going to be fun. Okay. How did this go? I think it went like this. Let's see if I can rotate this. So they built the car, and then they put this line in, and then everything else went in after it. All right, well, we're kind of making some progress here. Started off strong, and I kind of already ran myself into a problem. Once I get past this, oh, maybe. Oh, look at that. Oh, don't make those sounds. Oh, yeah. We're just about there, I think. Okay, so that will fit there. I don't want to stamp anything in until I make the connection down here, so verify that everything's in the right spot. All right, the last part of this is this. And you never know. Everything's back in its correct home. That wasn't bad. All right, now I'm going to strip all of the stuff off of the back of the car. We're going to get this latch out of the way, some wiring, brackets, because I don't want to mask anything. I don't have to. I just want to remove it and then reinstall it after it's painted. As you can see, there's paint flaking off because this really wasn't, it likely wasn't prepped that great when it got repainted. So we'll get that kind of stripped down back to where the engine hanging mounts are and get it ready for paint. Yes. So here's kind of what I'm working with. You can see there's still some loose areas, and I'm not just going to put paint on top of it. Now, I am not a body guy by any stretch, and if you treat your car like I'm treating this car, it's probably not going to turn out too well. But I want to do something to seal up this raw metal. I don't want any rust issues in the future, and it might look a little nicer. Probably not, but we're still going to do it. All right, so now we're going to use my die grinder with this flappy wheel. I'm sure that's a technical term. Is it the right tool for this job? No. Are we going to use it? Yep. I really just want to remove all the loose stuff. I'm not really picky about what this looks like when I'm done. I just want it to not rust. Well, I think I'm good with using the die grinder. Now we're going to kind of blow all this stuff out of here, kind of get it prepped a little bit for some primer, and get some stuff taped off. This is going to be a yellow dust cloud. All right, now we're going to give it a quick little bit of prep here. Again, this is not going to be perfect. We're just giving it the old college dropout try. Well, we're all messed up here. Probably overkill. And I got this most of the way prepped. It's as far as I'm going to go. This has gotten way out of hand. I just thought I'd, seal up a little bit of metal so it didn't rust. And now look. Why do projects do this? Anyway, let's get some primer on it. and then we can start painting. Okay, here comes a little bit of primer. Got the best stuff that I could find in my garage. This is a budget project here. Ah, yes. I am not a professional, but I am wearing a mask. And I have slept at a Holiday Inn Express before. It's time to put some paint on this thing. I went up the street. There's a place, auto parts store, that pre-mixes aerosol paint that matches the car. This is Q1. Pastel yellow is the color of this thing. I have no problem painting this with it. I don't know that I would paint the outside with it. I am certainly not a good painter. I'm not a body guy. This is just better than it was, I hope. All right, we'll come back for a second coat in a little bit. Okay, time for coat number 2. Now, I don't really care if I get any runs, because if this car starts, it should run anyway. So before I put the clear on, I'd like to address the paint in this area. And it's actually the metal, that someone has reworked all of this metal. And it's not pretty, I'll be the first to tell you that. But it was probably a repair done in the early 2000s, and it probably wasn't done the way they would do it now. I'm just going to go with it, because I'm not blasting this whole car apart to drill a bunch of tack welds out. We're already going too far. So let's get some clear on it, and we're going to call it a day. All right, now we're going to get all this plastic, all this off. This did get quite a bit of paint on it. Now I'm just removing the hoses from this coolant pipe that runs the center of the car, and I am fighting these cheap hose clamps. Like, there are good worm clamps, and these are not them. They are literally coming apart. The other one did the same exact thing. I don't understand why this was the best option. But it's fine. We're going to rectify it all. Oh, that's a lot of water still. So this can't possibly end poorly. There's nothing that could ever happen that would make me regret my actions. Nope, nothing at all. I could just sit here for a while, but I don't want to do that. I need to get that hose off. Come on. What's the worst that could happen? Don't answer that. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Controlled. I'm going to do my best to explain what's going on here. I cleaned out the rest of the cooling system in the same method using this pump that I've got from my local drugstore, this clothesbin that I found in my wife's closet, sorry hun, and some parts from my washing machine that it didn't seem to need. So I've got the same basic system here. I went and got some 3/4 inch heater hose. That way we can attach to one side of the heater core system, the pipe here. And then I'm going to put some simple green. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because it's heater core and I don't want to cause any more issues. But I do need to clean this out. My hope here is that running this through the system will get most of the looser stuff out, and then I can switch directions here, and when I actually put the engine in and it gets up to operating temperature, I can flush the coolant a few times and then all of the intermix will be gone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the pump and we're going to see if it cycles water through, and then once we verify if it cycles water through, we're going to at that point we'll try to I just realized there might be some coolant in here still. We'll find out. It's not a big deal. once we do that, we'll add some simple green to it. The coolant won't be a problem, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I guess I gotta prime it better. Oh, this is gonna be fun. So my fear here is that the coolant's gonna come shooting out of the other side, and I'm not gonna be able to control it. We'll find out though. I think my elevation here is a problem. Come on, go down. Ah, yes, there's some of that green coolant. It's not a big deal. Oh no, it's on my toolbox. Whoa. Well, this was I did not think that was going to happen. It's fine. I probably should get a piece of hose and turn that down into this, or we're going to make a big mess. Yeah, it's fine. It's all fine. Let's give this a break here and yeah, let's regroup. Definitely didn't account for how far that was going to shoot. So it's pulling from this tub, which has a little bit of simple green, not much. I added maybe 4 or 5 ounces. Goes into this pump, leaks on my floor, don't worry about it. And it pumps it up to the heater core, and then this is the return from the heater core. So we're gonna run this for a few more minutes, and then we'll swap to the other side. And I know that this might not even be worth the trouble, but I wanna get as much of the intermix out of this car, at least out of the cooling system, as I can. You can see there's a little bit of oil residue right there. That's what we're trying to get up. But I'm a little concerned with the amount of suds here. I don't want to have a situation. All right, now we're going to go the other way. I switched the inlet and outlet on the coolant pipe in the car, and now we're going to plug it in. Oh, that didn't get in the bin. There we go. Didn't really get a whole lot out. It tells me there might not have been a lot in there. That's good. So I know it's hard to tell, but there's just a little bit of intermix here, a little bit of oil right there in the corner, and there's some along the edge. There's a little bit of debris in here, and I think that's just stuff that was in the air. It's windy outside. I'm like an idiot. I did this with the garage open, but regardless, there wasn't much in there, but I got a little bit out, so I think it was worth it. All right, now I'm running distilled water through it. I filled this cat litter container. Man, these things are awesome. Filled that up with a couple gallons of distilled water, and I'm trying to rinse all of that out. It's the best I can do at this point. I'm going to have to flush the cooling system on this car several times. Uh-oh, bad stuff's happening. Be happy. Oh my god, it sucked that thing dry. Okay, well, that's good enough. We have one more thing to do before we get this engine and transmission back in here, and that is address these 2 coolant hoses. So now this hose I did not buy from Porsche. This hose is $130 some odd. It's a lot of money for a radiator hose, but this one I did buy from Porsche, and this one is actually made pretty well. It fit pretty well, but this one's kind of angled wrong, and I bought a factory one, same part number, and we're going to replace that, and we're going to replace the clamps. Now I did not use or buy spring clamps. It was very difficult to figure out how many of what size I needed. They don't really have like a hose clamp kit available for this car. So I'm going to show you what I ended up doing. And if it doesn't work out, I can always change it later. Now we're going to talk about personal preference. And personally, I do not prefer worm clamps. I like spring clamps in most situations, especially when they are already present. In my case, this car didn't have any of them left. They were all removed, discarded, and they were replaced with these cheap worm clamps. Now, these will work in a pinch, and I mean that quite literally, because these will actually pinch the rubber hose. There's other things that go wrong with them, like the fact that they just come apart when you try to loosen them. They're easy to strip. There's a lot of reasons to not like these. Now, I was told by some friends of mine, multiple people, that they recommend using breeze clamps in this situation. And these are some, I'm going to use the term loosely, high-end worm clamps. They actually are really well made. They have a liner on the inside to keep that threaded section from cutting into the rubber hose. So that looks nice. These look to be much better built. I'm going to go with this here. If this doesn't end up working, I can always spend the amount of time it takes to figure out how many of what size spring clamp is supposed to be on this car, and I'll end up replacing them all. Now I'm just kind of test fitting this new hose. It seems to be made pretty well. We're going to go ahead and take this clamp off, we'll replace this hose, and we'll reclamp everything. Let's see if these come off in one piece. I doubt it. Oh, that one worked. All right, let's get a couple clamps. That fits really nice. Okay, let's roll this thing into place. I've been waiting for this for a long time. This is going to be great. All right, so now does this... I think this goes on here first. All right, now it's time to install this transmission mount bracket. Rubber inserts. They go on either side. Oh, they're right here. I'm just going to get these kind of snug. I'm not going to tighten this up just because I want a little bit of leeway. Let's drop it. I mean, not literally. I mean, lower it just a little at a time. Oh, got locks on. Always forget about them locks. We're just going to do it without stopping. No, that's not true. We're not going to do that. This is going to be lots of back and forth. Not like that. It's a very technical way of lining things up. I think we're doing all right. This is going to have to hang off to the side. Not like that. The last thing I want to do is crush something. I'm just going to be extra careful. Kind of prop some things up here. Yeah, looks like we're shaping up pretty decent. Oh, it's getting there. This is like the best part, next to firing it up without a check engine light. Let's see how we doing. This side looks all right. Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to go towards the front of the car just a hair. This looks like bad stuff's gonna happen. It's perfect. It's fine. No, we got plenty of room. All the room. We're gonna go. This is where it gets real. I should probably take the tires off for this, but we're not going to do that. You know what? I'm going to unbolt the ground strap. Can I get the ground strap off once it's in? Yes. And just so I don't lose anything, we're going to put the bolt back in its spot. I did that with a lot of this car. So a lot of this thing has bolts and nuts hanging out.
Not those kind of nuts. Come on, guys.
Get these axles in location. So far, everything looks to be okay. Let's go down. Axles happy? Yes. No. Transmission is too far to the passenger side. So we're just going to push on it. We're going to move the shifter out of the way. Yeah, now axles are happy. Now, what did that do for the front? Back. I get confused. We are close. just a little bit off. So let's give this a quick little... That might have done it. Okay. Well, we haven't heard any crunching yet, so that's good. That's kind of like the goal, no crunching of anything. We are getting kind of close to that rear bumper. A little bit off from this mount. That's decent. Okay, harness is above. All that stuff's happy. We're not far. We're almost ready to fire this thing up. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. All right, so the cats are not gonna hit the rear bumper. So that's good. Bolts centered perfectly. That's excellent. Oh, it's almost there. Oh, the bolts went right in the right hole. Oh, that's perfect. So this is what we are attempting to try to do. This needs to go up to here. Did that help us? Oh, we are closer. Oh yeah, look at that. Nope, that didn't. Blue, you let me down. I think we're good. Now I'm not gonna zip these all the way down because I don't have all of the bolts in it and I don't want to put anything in a bind. So we're just gonna we're gonna get it like further. We're not going to get her all the way drilled home. That's good enough. All right, let's lower her down. Do I have enough threads to get this thing started? No. A little bit more. Okay. Okay. We're going to need to give this a little shove here. See, the other side is completely okay. It's just this one. Huh, did like that. Okay, we're gonna go down a little bit more so we can get the nuts started. I did not. Ah, I see, we're at the wrong angle of the dangle. Okay, well we're gonna see if we can get a couple threads. Let's go to the other side. Okay, we're gonna use my power ratchet here and see if we can bring this up at all. Oh yeah. Okay, it is not tight and that's okay. That is okay. Now I'm gonna go underneath, zip the hanging bracket down, and that should be enough to support this so I can get this table out of my garage. Okay, here we go. Here goes something. Let's get her down on the locks. Okay, apparently only one side wanted to lock. It's a good thing OSHA doesn't come to my house. There, now we're on the locks. Now it's safe. Well, a quick look around. I don't see any major issues. Nothing's pinched. Everything looks pretty decent. This is a pretty easy engine to do compared to some of the other stuff I own. Oh, I hope I never have to take the engine back out of my Land Cruiser. That is much harder than this. All right, it's done. No, it's not. I still have everything to do. But it is the end of the video. It's just not the end of my work. I'm going to keep working on this thing until it runs and I can pull it out of the garage. I'm tired of pushing this car around. I'm going to drive it around now. I have other things that need to go on this rack. My yellow Esprit needs a round of major work. Not really major. It's nothing that crazy. There'll probably be an update on that. Plus, you guys are well overdue for a Mystic Cobra update, so we're going to work on that as well. I really hope you have enjoyed this series of videos so far. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one.